The HOA lady beat my 5-year-old daughter until she couldn't breathe, punched her face, kicked her ribs, smashed her head on the ground all over chalk drawings. She thought her powerful husband would save her. She didn't know I'm the district attorney. Now she'll pay everything. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also, like and subscribe for more stories. The ICU was cold, too cold. Or maybe it was just my blood that had turned to ice as I stared through the glass at my daughter's broken body. Emma, my 5-year-old baby girl. Tubes running from her small arms. A ventilator breathing for her. Bandages wrapped around her head. Her face swollen and bruised beyond recognition. The heart monitor beeped steadily, the only proof she was still alive. My hands pressed against the glass, and I could see the dried blood still under my fingernails. Emma's blood from when I'd held her in the ambulance, begging her not to leave me. Mrs. Morrison. Dr. Patel's voice was gentle, but I heard the tremor in it. He'd seen the extent of Emma's injuries. We need to discuss your daughter's condition. I couldn't look away from Emma. Couldn't process that this broken, still child was the same girl who'd kissed me goodbye this morning with sticky pancake syrup on her lips. Just tell me, I whispered. Multiple skull fractures, severe brain trauma, broken ribs, internal bleeding that we've managed to control. Her left arm is fractured in 2 places. There's swelling around her spinal cord. He paused and I heard him swallow hard. Sarah, Emma was beaten severely. This wasn't an accident or a fall. Someone did this to her deliberately. The words hit me like physical blows. Beaten. My baby had been beaten. The person who did this, I said, my voice eerily calm. Where are they? The police said someone was arrested but released. I finished, rage flooding through me. Released on bail 2 hours ago. Dr. Patel's eyes widened. How do you? Because I'm the district attorney of Harris County. I finally turned to look at him, and whatever he saw in my face made him step back. And the woman who beat my daughter into a coma just made the biggest mistake of her life. She has no idea who she's dealing with. Emma had been so excited this morning. It was Saturday and I'd promised her we could spend the whole day together. No work, no phone calls, just us. Mommy, can we draw on the sidewalk with chalk? She'd bounced on my bed at 7 a.m. already dressed in her favorite purple dress. Of course, baby. After breakfast, we'd made chocolate chip pancakes together. She'd gotten batter on her nose and we'd laughed. Got that laugh? Would I ever hear it again? At 10 a.m., we'd gone outside with her big bucket of sidewalk chalk. Our HOA in Riverside Gardens was strict about many things, but kids drawing with washable chalk had never been an issue. Emma had drawn butterflies, flowers, a big sunshine, and a family portrait. Me, her, and our dog, Max. I'd been sitting on our front steps watching her when my phone rang. The mayor's office. I'd stepped inside for just 5 minutes. 5 minutes to take a call about a major case. 5 minutes that destroyed everything. I'd heard the screaming first. A woman's voice, shrill and furious. You little brat. Look what you've done. Do you know how much the HOA pays for these sidewalks? I'd run outside to see Karen Whitmore, our HOA president, 45 years old, married to Judge Richard Whitmore, standing over Emma, her face purple with rage. Emma was on her knees trying to gather her chalk, tears streaming down her face. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll clean it up. Sorry isn't good enough. Karen had screamed. Hey, I'd shouted, running toward them. What's going on? Karen had spun toward me, eyes blazing. Your daughter has vandalized HOA property. This is unacceptable. There are rules. It's washable chalk, I'd said, forcing calm into my voice, even as my protective instincts flared. Emma, come here, baby. Emma had started to stand, but Karen had grabbed her arm. Art, she needs to clean this up right now and you need to pay a fine. Let go of my daughter. My voice had dropped to a dangerous level now. Karen's eyes had narrowed. Do you know who I am? I'm the HOA president. Your neighbor filmed this vandalism. I have proof. I don't care if you're the Queen of England. What? Go. My daughter. That's when Karen had done something I'd never forget. She'd looked me dead in the eye, smiled. Actually smiled and said, "Make me." Then she'd slapped Emma across the face. The sound had cracked through the air like a gunshot. Emma's head snapped to the side, and she'd fallen onto the concrete. I'd lunged forward, but Karen had been faster. She grabbed Emma by her hair and yanked her up. "You want to act like a little vandal?" Karen had hissed at my crying daughter. "I'll teach you about consequences." "Stop, please," Emma had screamed. Everything after that happened in horrible crystal-clear slow motion. Karen's fist connecting with Emma's stomach. My daughter doubling over, gasping for air. Karen punching Emma in the face. What? Twice. Blood spraying from Emma's nose. Emma falling. Karen kicking her in the ribs. The sickening crack of bones breaking. I'd been running, screaming, trying to reach them, but I was too far. Too late. Emma trying to crawl away. Karen stomping on her arm. Emma's scream cutting off abruptly. Karen grabbing Emma by the back of her dress, lifting her and slamming her head against the concrete sidewalk. What? Twice, 3 times. Emma going limp. Karen, dropping her like garbage and stepping back, breathing hard. I'd reached Emma and dropped to my knees beside her. Blood was pooling under her head. Her eyes were open but unfocused. Her breathing was shallow and wrong. "Emma, baby, stay with me." I'd screamed, pulling out my phone, calling 911. Karen had stood there watching. Then she pulled out her own phone. "Tom, it's Karen. I need you at Riverside Gardens immediately. A child attacked me and I had to defend myself. Bring your officers. I want this documented properly. Tom Hendris, her brother, the chief of police. You're insane." I'd sobbed, cradling Emma's broken body. "You beat a 5-year-old child." Karen had looked at me coldly. "I defended myself against an assault, and I have witnesses who will confirm it. You should teach your daughter to respect authority and follow rules." Then she'd walked away, her designer heels clicking on the sidewalk, stepping over Emma's chalk drawings like they were nothing. The ambulance had arrived. The paramedics had worked frantically. I'd ridden with Emma, holding her small hand, begging her to fight to stay with me. At the hospital, police had arrived. Not just any police. Chief Hendricks himself with 2 of his officers. "Mrs. Morrison, I need your statement about the incident," he'd said with fake sympathy. "Your sister beat my daughter into a coma." I screamed at him. "She needs to be arrested. My sister was defending herself against an aggressive child. We have witnesses. Your daughter attacked Mrs. Whitmore." "That's a lie. Emma is 5 years old. Karen beat her because of chalk on the sidewalk." Chief Hendricks had shaken his head sadly. "I understand you're upset, but making false accusations won't help your daughter. We've taken Mrs. Whitmore's statement. She's cooperating fully. The evidence supports her account." "Evidence? What evidence?" "Security footage from a neighbor's Ring camera shows your daughter throwing something at Mrs. Whitmore. Mrs. Whitmore then defended herself and unfortunately your daughter fell and hit her head." I'd stared at him in disbelief. "You're covering this up. You're protecting her because she's your sister." "I'm following the evidence, Mrs. Morrison." His eyes had been cold. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to the investigation." They'd arrested Karen, but she'd been released on bail within 2 hours. Self-defense claim. Witnesses supporting her story. Evidence proving Emma attacked first. They thought they'd won. Thought their power and connections would bury this. They had no idea what was coming. I'd left Emma with my mother and sister Rachel at the hospital and gone straight to my office. It was midnight, but I didn't care. Sleep was impossible anyway. My assistant, James Chin, had met me there. News traveled fast in the legal community. "Sarah, I'm so sorry. How's Emma?" "In a coma. Multiple skull fractures, broken ribs, broken arm. All from being beaten by Karen Whitmore. I pulled out my laptop and I'm going to destroy her." James sat down slowly. "You can't prosecute this yourself. There's a conflict of interest. Watch me." I pulled up files. "Karen Whitmore beat my daughter nearly to death. Chief Hendris is covering it up. Judge Whitmore will try to interfere, but I'm the district attorney and I know exactly how to build an unimpeachable case." "How?" "First, I invite oversight. The state attorney general's office will monitor every decision I make. Complete transparency. Second, I follow every procedure perfectly. so perfectly that removing me would raise more questions than keeping me on. Third, I find the truth they're trying to bury. I pulled up the police report. They claim Emma attacked Karen. That's impossible. Emma weighs 38 pounds and is terrified of conflict. But even if it were true, you don't beat a 5-year-old child unconscious and call it self-defense. James leaned forward. What do you need? Detective Marcus Hayes. He's the best investigator we have, and he's honest. I need him to find what they're hiding. Marcus arrived within the hour. He'd heard about Emma and looked devastated. Tell me what you need, Sarah. Anything. The truth. They have witnesses saying Emma attacked Karen. They have footage they claim shows it. I need you to find what really happened. Talk to real witnesses. Find real footage. Tear apart their lies piece by piece. Marcus nodded grimly. I'll start tonight. By dawn, Marcus had found the first crack in their story. The Ring camera footage they're using, Marcus explained, showing me his laptop, has been edited badly. I had our tech analyst look at it. There are missing frames. Timestamps don't match and the audio has been stripped out. My heart raced. Can you prove it? Already did. I also found the homeowner whose camera it is. David Chin, no relation to James. He's a software engineer and he's pissed. Says Chief Hendricks took his camera's SD card, promised to return it, and gave him back a card with edited footage. Will he testify? He already gave me a sworn statement. Says he saw the whole thing from his window. Karen beat Emma while you were inside on the phone. Emma never touched Karen. Never even got close to her. I felt tears sting my eyes. They edited evidence. The chief of police tampered with evidence in an assault case. It gets better, Marcus continued. Or worse, depending on how you look at it. I found 2 other witnesses, actual witnesses who saw it happen. Joggers who were in the neighborhood. They saw Karen beating Emma. They tried to intervene, but Karen threatened to have them arrested for trespassing in the gated community. Get their statements. Recorded, sworn, everything already done. Sarah, there's more. I looked into Karen's history. This isn't the first time he pulled up old police reports. 7 years ago, different neighborhood. A 6-year-old boy fell and broke his arm after an encounter with Karen over riding his bike on the sidewalk. Parents were paid off. Signed an NDA. Find those parents. NDAs can't prevent testimony in a criminal case. On it, there's also a sealed juvenile case from 4 years ago. A teenager ended up hospitalized after Karen defended herself from his skateboard. Judge Whitmore presided over that case. It was sealed and expugned. My blood boiled. They've been protecting her for years, covering up child abuse, and they think they can do it again, Marcus said. But they didn't count on the victim's mother being the DA. Over the next 48 hours, Marcus worked like a man possessed. So did I. David Chin provided the original unedited footage from his Ring camera. Watching it made me physically sick. The video showed everything. Emma drawing with chalk. Me going inside. Karen approaching already angry. Emma backing away frightened. Karen grabbing Emma. Slapping her. Punching her. Kicking her. Slamming her head against the concrete. All of it crystal clear with audio of Emma screaming, begging her to stop calling for me. And Karen, cold and methodical, beating a 5-year-old child while saying, "You need to learn respect. You need to learn that rules matter. This is what happens when you don't follow rules." I watched it once, then had to run to the bathroom to vomit. But we had it. Undeniable proof. The 2 joggers gave statements matching the video exactly. They described Karen's rage, Emma's terror, the brutal beating. The parents from the previous incidents came forward. Both had been paid significant amounts to stay quiet. Both had children who still had nightmares about Karen Whitmore. She told us if we ever spoke about it, her husband would make sure we lost custody of our kids. One mother testified. Judge Whitmore had that kind of power. We were terrified. I also found something else. HOA records showing Karen had a pattern of explosive rage toward children in the community. Dozens of complaints filed against her for verbal abuse. Threats and excessive enforcement of minor rules. All buried by the HOA board, which was largely controlled by Karen's allies. On day 4, with Emma still in a coma, but showing slight improvement, I personally filed charges against Karen Whitmore, attempted murder, aggravated assault on a minor, child abuse, and making false statements to police. I also filed charges against Chief Tom Hendris for evidence tampering, obstruction of justice, and abuse of power. Judge Whitmore tried to intervene. He called the governor, the attorney general, everyone he could think of. He demanded I be removed from the case. But I'd done everything right. The attorney general's office was overseeing every move I made. A visiting judge from Dallas, Judge Patricia Martinez, known for her integrity, was assigned to the case specifically because local judges were compromised. Judge Martinez reviewed everything and made her ruling. Mrs. Morrison has conducted this investigation with extraordinary professionalism and transparency. The fact that the victim is her daughter gives her standing, not bias. All motions to remove her are denied. I personally went with Marcus to arrest Karen Whitmore. This time, I made sure every media outlet in the state knew about it. We arrived at the Whitmore mansion at 6 a.m. with a full tactical team and a warrant. News helicopters circled overhead. Every major network had cameras rolling. Judge Whitmore answered the door in his bathrobe, his face going purple when he saw me. "This is outrageous. I'll have your badge. You have no authority here, Judge Whitmore. Please step aside." Karen appeared behind him, and for the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes. She'd realized her power couldn't protect her anymore. Marcus read her rights. "Karen Whitmore, you're under arrest for the attempted murder of Emma Morrison. Aggravated assault on a minor. This is insane." I was defending myself. Karen shrieked. I stepped forward, looked her in the eye, and said quietly, "You beat my 5-year-old daughter nearly to death over sidewalk chalk. You fractured her skull. You broke her ribs. You broke her arm. And you smiled while you did it." I held up my phone, showing her a photo of Emma in the hospital, unconscious and broken. "Look at her. Look at what you did." Karen's face went white. For just a second, I saw something, maybe remorse, maybe just fear, flash in her eyes. "I want my lawyer," she whispered. "Of course you have that right." I nodded to Marcus. "Take her." As they led her out in handcuffs, past the cameras and the shocked neighbors, I felt the first small measure of satisfaction. Not justice yet, but a start. On day 6, Emma's eyes fluttered open. I was at her bedside holding her hand when I felt her fingers squeeze mine. Just barely, but unmistakable. "Emma, baby." Her eyes opened slowly, unfocused and confused. "Mommy." That one word broke something in me. I started crying, pressing her hand to my cheek. "I'm here, baby. I'm right here." Dr. Patel rushed in running tests. Emma was disoriented, didn't remember what happened, had weakness on her left side, but she was awake. She was alive. "The lady," Emma whispered, her voice slurred. "The mean lady hurt me." "I know, sweetheart, but she can't hurt you anymore. Mommy made sure of it." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "It hurt so much, Mommy. I just wanted to draw butterflies." I climbed into the hospital bed carefully, holding my daughter as gently as I could, mindful of her injuries. "I know, baby. I know. But you're so strong. You're going to get better. Promise. I promise. And the mean lady, she's going to pay for what she did. Mommy promises that, too." Karen Whitmore's trial began 3 weeks later. Emma was out of ICU by then, doing physical therapy, slowly recovering. She couldn't attend, too young, too traumatized, but her presence was felt in every moment. The courtroom was packed. Media from across the country, concerned citizens, other parents from Riverside Gardens, who'd finally found the courage to speak out against Karen. Judge Whitmore sat in the back row, his career already crumbling. An ethics investigation had been launched into the cases he'd sealed protecting his wife. Chief Hendricks had been suspended pending his own trial for evidence tampering. Karen sat at the defense table with Martin Sears, the most expensive attorney money could buy. She was dressed conservatively, trying to look sympathetic. But everyone had seen the video by now. It had leaked online, gone viral. The world had watched her beat a 5-year-old child. My opening statement was brief and devastating. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you've probably seen the video. You've watched Karen Whitmore beat Emma Morrison, a 5-year-old child, until she lost consciousness. You've heard Emma screams her pleas for mercy. You've watched a grown woman punch, kick, and slam a kindergartner's head against concrete over and over until Emma stopped moving. I pulled up a photo of Emma before the attack, smiling, holding a butterfly sheet. This is Emma Morrison, 5 years old. She loved butterflies and sidewalk chalk and making people smile. On the morning of June 10th, she was drawing pictures on the sidewalk outside our home. Happy, innocent, safe. Another photo. Emma in the hospital, face swollen, head bandaged, covered in bruises. 6 hours later, this is Emma Morrison. Multiple skull fractures, broken ribs, broken arm, brain trauma, in a coma. Because Karen Whitmore decided that chalk on a sidewalk was worth beating a child nearly to death. I turned to the jury. The defense will claim self-defense. They'll say Emma attacked first, but you've seen the video. You know that's a lie. A 38-pound kindergartner did not attack a 150-pound adult. Emma was drawing with chalk. Karen Whitmore beat her for it. That's not self-defense. That's attempted murder. The trial lasted 2 weeks. David Chin testified about the original footage about the police taking his SD card and returning it with edited video. The joggers testified about what they witnessed. Karen's unprovoked rage, Emma's terror, the brutal beating. Dr. This was not a defensive action or an accident. This was a sustained violent assault. The parents of Karen's previous victims testified about the pattern of abuse, the payoffs, the threats, and then we played the unedited video. The courtroom was silent except for the sound of Emma's screams. Her desperate pleas, "Please stop. Mommy, somebody help me." Karen punching her, kicking her, slamming her head against concrete while saying, "This is what happens when you don't follow rules." Several jurors were openly crying. One looked like she might be sick. When the video ended, I said quietly, "The defense will try to explain this away. They'll talk about HOA rules, about property values, about respect for authority, but there is no explanation, no justification, no excuse. Karen Whitmore beat a 5-year-old child nearly to death, and she did it deliberately. Martin Sears tried. He really did. He painted Karen as a dedicated community servant, overwhelmed by stress, who made a terrible mistake in a moment of panic. But the video didn't lie. The evidence didn't lie. Emma's broken body didn't lie. The jury deliberated for 90 minutes. Guilty on all counts. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. Emma was doing better, walking with a slight limp, regaining strength, working with a therapist to process the trauma. I brought a letter Emma had dictated to my mother. I read it aloud in court. "Dear Judge, my name is Emma and I'm 5.5 years old. The mean lady hurt me really bad. I was just drawing butterflies with my chalk. I didn't do anything wrong. She hit me and kicked me and it hurt so much. I don't remember a lot of it because I went to sleep for a long time. When I woke up, Mommy was there. I still have bad dreams about the mean lady. My arm still hurts. I can't run as fast as before. But Mommy says I'm brave and strong. I want the mean lady to know that what she did was really, really wrong. Kids should be safe. Love, Emma." The courtroom was silent. Many people were crying. Then I read my own statement. "Your Honor, I stand before you wearing 2 hats. As the prosecutor who tried this case and as Emma's mother. The prosecutor in me believes in measured justice, in sentences that fit the crime. But the mother in me sees my daughter's scars, watches her flinch when strangers approach, holds her when she wakes up screaming from nightmares." I paused, gathering myself. Emma will carry these scars for life. Physical scars from broken bones and head trauma. Psychological scars from being beaten by an adult she thought was safe. She's terrified of anger now. Terrified of authority figures. Terrified to play outside. Karen Whitmore didn't just hurt Emma's body. She stole her innocence, her sense of safety, her childhood joy. I looked directly at Karen. "You beat my daughter nearly to death over sidewalk chalk. You fractured her skull. You broke her ribs and her arm. You traumatized her in ways she may never fully recover from. And you did it while saying she needed to learn respect and follow rules." My voice hardened. The irony is that you're the one who needs to learn about consequences, about what happens when you abuse power, hurt children, and think you're above the law. I turned to Judge Martinez. I'm asking for the maximum sentence on every count. Not for revenge, but because Karen Whitmore has shown a pattern of violence against children spanning years. Because she used her power and connections to cover it up. Because she showed no remorse even after nearly killing my daughter. Her only concern was avoiding consequences. The community needs protection from her, and Emma needs to know that justice exists, that people who hurt children face real consequences. Judge Martinez looked at Karen for a long moment. Mrs. Whitmore, in my 30 years on the bench, I have never seen such a clear case of unprovoked violence against a child. The video evidence shows you beating a 5-year-old girl with sustained deliberate force. The medical evidence shows injuries that could easily have been fatal. The testimony reveals a pattern of abuse against children that you covered up using your husband's position and your brother's authority. Karen's lawyer stood. Your Honor, Mrs. Whitmore has no prior criminal convictions. She's been a child abuser protected by power and privilege. Judge Martinez cut him off. No more. Karen Whitmore, I hereby sentence you to life in prison for attempted murder. This sentence will run consecutively with 20 years for aggravated assault and 10 years for child abuse. You will be eligible for parole in 40 years. The courtroom erupted. Karen collapsed, sobbing. Judge Whitmore shouted about appeals. But it was over. Karen Whitmore would spend the rest of her life in prison for beating my daughter. Emma was 10 now, in 4th grade, thriving despite everything. Physical therapy had worked wonders. The limp was barely noticeable. She'd regained full strength in her arm. The scars on her head were hidden by hair. The psychological scars were harder, but she was working through them with an amazing therapist. The nightmares were rare now. She could play outside without panic. She was learning to trust again. We were at the park, a different park in a different neighborhood, when she saw a little girl drawing with sidewalk chalk. I tensed, watching Emma carefully, ready to leave if it triggered her. But Emma just smiled. She's drawing butterflies just like I used to. Do you want to draw with her? I asked gently. Emma thought about it. Yeah, I think I do. She walked over, introduced herself, and within minutes, both girls were laughing and drawing together. I watched my daughter, resilient, kind, brave, and felt overwhelming gratitude. Not for what happened, but for who Emma had become through surviving it. Karen Whitmore had tried to break her, had beaten her, traumatized her, nearly killed her. But Emma had survived. More than that, she'd grown stronger. Mommy, look, Emma called, pointing to her chalk drawing. I made a butterfly for you. I walked over, knelt beside my daughter, and hugged her carefully. It's beautiful, baby. Just like you. Emma hugged me back. I love you, Mommy. Thank you for making the mean lady go away. I love you too, sweetheart. To the moon and back again, she whispered. And as I watched Emma return to her drawings, laughing with her new friend, I knew that this, her healing, her joy, her resilience, was the real victory. Karen Whitmore had power, connections, money. She'd beaten my daughter and thought she'd get away with it. But she'd forgotten one crucial thing. I was a mother, and a mother's love is more powerful than any position, any privilege, any protection money can buy. Emma was safe. Karen was in prison for life. Justice had been served.